Surprise, surprise.
Surprise,
So,
surprise.
Van here, we were doing some troubleshooting on his computer, and then right as he was going live, it crashed. So, and I'm still really sick. So
Welcome to my world.
he called me like, oh no. So I was like, okay, I'll hop on and I'll do my opening segment since I'll move guess that character to the beginning so I can do it for you guys because I need to lie down.
Yeah, thank you, Messi. You're always saving the day.
If you were wondering what is wrong, I had a nasty cold that turned into a sinus infection and it wasn't getting better. I'm on antibiotics now, but hopefully we'll be better soon. Ciaz Nabel, Jonathan Knock, Raphael, and Duran, hello to all of you. Good to see you. Just for this evening, because I'm going to be lying down and Van is on his phone, we probably won't see as many comments popping up on screen as normal. But if Van is able to, if his laptop just turns on, he can watch the YouTube and see the chat at least. Unless he can see it from his phone. I don't know.
Oh, I guess I could try that.
Yeah, you just turn your sound off on your laptop so you don't hear the video. Thank you, Dwayne. Hi, Raph. So you just if you put the stream on your laptop and then just mute it, you'll see the comments at least on your laptop. And you'll see them earlier than actually we see them in StreamYard. So, Mez to the rescue.
Always.
I tried my best. All right, so hope you're all doing well. I'm getting there. I'm gonna get there. No worries. But we're gonna start with our wonderful
nerdy news.
So first on the nerdy news, y'all, Star Wars Skeleton Crew filmmaker roundtable. According to the creators and directors behind the new series Star Wars Skeleton Crew is a story by friends, for friends, and about friends. Join Spider-Man Homecoming director Watts and writer Ford alongside David Lowery, Jake Schreier, and Bryce Dallas Howard as they discuss their longtime friendship and how it played into the upcoming adventure of the series. In the article that you can review in the description, whether you're watching live or the upload after. In the article is below, you can watch an 11-minute interview and a new featurette on the show. Make sure to watch the show beforehand, though, that they have so far, so you don't to avoid spoilers and such.
Yes.
Excuse me.
It is a fun show. If you guys have not had a chance to watch it, I'm not going to give any spoilers, but I will say it's been really nice to have a show that finally, just like Mandalorian, all the Star Wars fans have come together for. Okay, I can see some comments over here on the side, so I might be able to put them up.
Sweet. All right. So, and you can just do the live part from your phone, just for the delay issues.
Yes.
All right. Next, under nerdy news, 25 things you didn't know about the making of Star Wars: The Phantom Menace. So, did you know that Doug Chiang's earliest concepts were inspired by the sites of Marin County, like the earliest art concepts? And since there was a celebration of 25 years since The Phantom Menace was released, it seemed fitting to take a look back at all the making of this movie and 25 facts that you may not know about it. You find out some really interesting things and not all well-known facts about episode 1 of the Star Wars film saga. You can check that out in the description below as well. So that is your nerdy news. Now, let's guess that character.
Okay, these at least might be a little bit manageable this week.
Yeah, I made easier ones this week. Put it in the chat. Now, Ark and our guests already know what they are because they got to see them up on the screen already. Who do you think this is? Steven, I wish I could be. You know that. Steven and I are in choir together, and I had to bail out on 2 of the 3 concerts we had this last week.
Oh, no. I totally forgot you wouldn't have been able to do the one last week.
Yeah, I got to do Tuesday nights, and then the next morning I felt horrendous. So I just knew I was just not.
I'm trying to change something on I'm having a bit of a challenge with my screen up here. Hey, Zayd, you got a hot second, bud?
So, guys, if you have a guess on who this silhouette is for Guess That Character, Raph! Ding, ding, ding. It is Watto. All right, so if you don't know, Watto, despite being a gambler and slave owner, is never treated like overtly evil in episode 1, but he's just kind of an annoyance who bypassed the movie's halfway point. We meet him again. The movie successfully conveys the feeling of visiting like The
green chain size. How do I make it
visiting your old elementary school as an adult, like smaller and shabbier than you remembered, even though at one point it dominated your life. All right, so yes, it is Watto. Here is the next one.
No, too big. It's the one normal size.
Raph,
Sorry
Bear,
about that.
and
Zayo's
Sam
helping me.
both said Watto.
Big.
Who is this, y'all?
I think that's correct.
Do you know who this is?
Thank you. This one's a fun one.
All right, who do y'all think this is? Put it in. Oh, Steven.
Woohoo!
Steven Harris. Yes,
nice.
It is Bulb. Yes, what is there to say about him? Well, he's bad for sure, and he's a real villain who resorts to all sorts of dirty tricks to stay reigning champion in the Outer Rim. But I'd say the most interesting about him is how much people do love him, even though he's like a no good guy. People do love Sebulba, which I found out. I don't know the characters as well as everybody else. It's actually been years since I've watched episodes 1, 2, and 3, even. Can't type, watching, no worry, night vision. I clicked on it, Vanius, because I'm on. It's by habit. No, it's fine. It's just by habit that I click on the comments. So that is guess that character for you guys and the nerdy news. Now, Mezzo here is signing off. So Van can introduce our guest and the flow of the show, which I'll rearrange the videos, Van, so you can play it after the guest outro.
Okay.
So it's in order. So next, Van will be introducing our guest, and when he comes back, I will be gone for the rest of the show. Introduce our guest.
I'm having so many problems with my computer. It's just crazy.
It's okay. Just worry about the comments and use your phone.
All right, you bring up the video. I will introduce our guest. Our guest tonight is a fantastic guest. I am very excited to have him on. It's someone that I've been following or seeing online for multiple years. And if you are a fan of conventions or like watching video of different conventions, I'm pretty sure you have seen this gentleman. Maybe not his face, but I'm pretty sure you've seen his costume before. Very recognizable, very humble man. And I don't know about you, Mets, but I think for this time of year, when we talk about the spirit of the holidays and giving, we couldn't have asked for a better guest to have on than our guest coming on tonight. So with no further ado, please give it up for our guest, Mr. Chris Knoll, aka Dude Vader. Well, hello, sir.
Hello. It's Christopher Cannoli here.
It is so good to finally talk to you and get to meet you on the show.
Yes, it's a rare time that I get to take off the mask.
It's an incredible mask. First off, like I said, I've seen you online for several years. How long have you been donning that mask?
I started in 2014 at the end of Comic-Con. I was a set photographer, and all the cosplayers said, you got to put on something and see what it feels like on the other side of the camera. Right. So I found a kid's, that Star Wars Darth Vader helmet that had the box that came down from the neck. I painted that gold, put on a Hawaiian shirt, and called myself Dude Vader.
And the rest is history.
That's very true. It's been a wild ride for 10 years. And at the end of the month, I will hit my 1,000th appearance.
Wow, 1,000 appearances.
Right. So a few charities around the country, and I did a local news broadcast. They did the numbers, and they called me the $5 million Man charity fundraiser. So it's been a delight.
Right. And I know recently you were at the opening of Skeleton Crew, hanging out with the cast and crew there.
Yes, and I got my pass to prove it. It was a wonderful time. I'll tell you, Skeleton Crew is exceptional. It's fun. It's sort of the cross between Harry Potter and like the Dirty Dozen, Seven Samurai. It's all the stuff, and it looks so much more Star Wars than anything we've seen in the last probably 5 or 6 years. And
Yeah.
the actors are amazing. And by the way, I gotta give a shout out to Molly Miller, the stunt woman. She does most of the kids' stunts, and
Wow.
she was thrilled to work on this.
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah. Sleepy Triple X is saying that they love Skeleton Crew. Now, how did you go from just being a humble Hawaiian shirt wearing Darth Vader headed character to hanging out with the cast and crew? How does that journey happen?
Well, I met a fellow cosplayer, Nathan Seekerman, turned me on to steampunk with my friend Terry McCulley,
Mm.
and I started adding stuff to the costume. And it got heavier and heavier and heavier. That helmet you see in the background is a steel version of the costume. That
Right.
helmet's 17 pounds itself.
Oh my
And
goodness.
so the costume got up to be 55 pounds. I was 220 at the time that I started. I'm down to 160 now because not only do I do charities, but I do about 25 5Ks a year in costume. And boy, that just sheds the weight. So now the costume is only 5 pounds. The 3D version, printed version, is 1.5 pounds. So that gives you an idea of how much easier it is to function and move around and greet kids, because you got to be able to move fast with them.
Right. Is any of that foam or is it all 3D printed?
That's all 3D. That's about 600 hours of printing. And then what I do for every charity event, I put a helmet crest up here in the top. So, it's that was for Make-A-Wish. I do a lot of stuff with the military for Susan Coleman. So it really helps out at the charities. And I've got antlers for the Christmas season because that's a star that, the whole motif is based on samurai because
Right.
the definition of samurai is those who serve. So it's perfect for charity conversations with people when they ask, why are you samurai?
Right. Have you always been a huge Star Wars fan, or did you just happen to come up with Vader because that was what was around, or has that been a favorite character?
Well, AARP magazine just recently did an article. I was in line, New York City. I was the artist in residence for New York City at that time as a sculptor in the parks. And there's a photo of me in line for the very first showing of Star Wars at the Lowe's Theater in New York.
Wow.
And so, yeah, I've been hooked. And when I got to work on, go over and design sets for Superman, I went to the props department. Boy, I put on every Star Wars outfit that was still hanging around. It was absolutely wonderful. And at one time, I had one of Alec Guinness's capes. And so I ended up giving that to charity. And it's been a big part of my life. But I never expected Dude Vader to take over my entire life. I do about 100 events a year. And so that gives you an idea. And the whole evolution. I do a charity, I do a panel at Comic-Cons with Chris Bartlett. It's called From Cosplay to Hollywood. And so we are coaching people. If you're really that skilled and that talented, let's get you registered with Central Casting and on set. So I'm back in the business, but on the other side of the camera in preparation for working. So hopefully with Chris on The Mandalorian and Grogu.
That's absolutely amazing. For those that may or may not remember, Chris Bartlett was on our show roughly 4 or 5 months ago. And for those that were able to make it, we had him in our store. He came out to do guest signings and meet a bunch of his fans in the store. So I absolutely love Chris. He's a phenomenal, phenomenal guy. How did you did you meet Chris at one of these openings, or how did you meet Chris?
No, what happened was, one summer ago, Molly Miller and I were going to lunch, and she says, "Oh, let's bring my friend Chris." Well, it turns out I'd been a fan of Chris. You know, he does all the droids on the TV series, and I'd
Right.
been a fan of his for years, and I had no clue that he was a fan of Dude Vader. So we went to lunch, and it was like two long lost brothers, and
Uh,
we've been inseparable since then. So he's the one that encouraged me. Look, you are able to be in costume for like 10 to 14 hours a day. So let's, use that, because one of the hardest things we need to find is background actors and costume characters who can work on the series for long hours. So that's why I'm slowly getting back in the business. I was on several TV series in the 90s, and I
wow.
played a forensics photographer, like in Silk Stockings, for 5 years, and Renegade, High Tide. But I also, and this was fun, 2 weeks ago, I was on the set of uh, uh, what is it, St. Denis Hospital
Hmm.
and St. Denis Medical. And I looked to the right, and there was a photographer that looked familiar. And I asked him, by any chance, were you the photographer in Apollo 13? And he just lit up, because, set photographers, we never get recognized. And he took the photo of myself and Tom Hanks where I played the next photographer in Apollo 13.
Wow.
So it's been, I've had so many wonderful small world situations. I got to work with people that I thought were long gone out of the business, but they're
Right.
still there. And so it was really fun when people said, "What the hell are you doing back on set?"
Right. Now, let me ask you, what is it that motivated you, at least in the beginning? I can understand now, maybe, you have a certain feeling about it, but in the beginning, what was it that motivated you to put on this costume and try to do good specifically for charities?
Well, it came when I first started doing panels. One of the things that I always say at panels is you can dress up and play a character play a superhero at a Comic-Con, or you
Hmm.
can gear up and show up at a charity event and become a superhero for the kids. And that
Wow.
has really taken over. And so the joy that you experience is like, first of all, it's like live theater, because you're
Right.
there with the kids or the families. And there's so many people out there that are just needing some kind of encounter with a person, whether it's a superhero or a Star Wars character or a princess, doesn't matter. If you do cosplay, I strongly suggest change from COSPLAY to CAUSEPLAY. Make it a
Nice.
cause, and you
Right.
will be amazed. All you need to do is your first one, and you'll be hooked for life. In
Right.
fact, my favorite story, those hospital beds, the rising bar on the side of the bed?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I had my arm over a hospital bed talking with this kid, and it was time to go, and I realized that my arm had fallen asleep due to the bar. And I reached over to, pick up my arm, and the kid leaned back and grabbed the call button for the nurse and says, "Do you need some help? Can I get the nurse to help you?" And the
Oh, wow.
beauty of wearing the helmet, I'm crying like crazy inside the helmet, and the kid is laughing his face off. So
Right.
there's a real charm, but there's such a need at every single town. Just call up a local charity and say, I do Spider-Man, or the contact groups like the 501st. Boy, those people are my heroes. They've been at this for a while. Rebel Legion,
Saber
so many
Guild.
Saber Guild. Now they got the dark side, and so it's really wonderful. And Lucas and Disney are now taking over and getting those people out there and getting them comped into events like this.
Right.
And so I've had the opportunity to march in a Disney parade with the 501st and the Rebel Legion and all those groups. So you're going to be very inspired by the way the people in front of you react to you, and then the people that see things like this video. You know, a charity will probably see this video who I've never appeared with and give me a call and say, what's your availability? And I just say, what time and when? Because to me, any invitation, there's only one answer to the invitation. Yes, I'll be there.
Well, we work with a local charity up here in Northern California that I know would love to work with you. They work with children as well. So I want to ask a question, but I'm not really quite certain how to ask this. So with a lot of, say, little kids, when they see a cosplay and they see a traditional Darth Vader that they know and they understand with the black suit and everything, but then they see your Darth Vader, I'm sure they understand that, with some little kids, they may think you were the actual Darth Vader if you're wearing the all black suit. But with your suit, it's obvious you're not trying to be exactly like the movie Darth Vader. Does it still resonate with a lot of people? Does it still have a connection? And I want to ask that before you became Dude Vader, because I know at a certain point you went from just being a guy that showed up to almost being like this celebrity because of your costume.
Okay, so first of all, I got a letter from Lucas Legal Service about a month or 2 months after I started, and I thought, oh, this is going to be a cease and desist. They noted that one of the problems, first of all their Star Wars character, except for Vader, like the white stormtrooper outfits, little kids, they don't understand, what stormtroopers are all about. And
Right.
So they're very popular. So they were really taken by the gold concept. And so what happened is Anthony, on the red carpet of Rogue One, Anthony Daniels befriended me and literally dragged every single person that was in line over. That photo of Felicity Jones signing my helmet was in 250 newspapers the next morning. So what happens is, I thought, Anthony says, you're not a gold Vader. You're a very confused C-3PO.
Yeah.
And it dawned on me at the end of Rise of Skywalker, once C-3PO realized that he could be reprogrammed. I thought, why not reprogram myself as like a stand-up comic and wear a helmet that reflects the person who made me, Vader.
Right. Do you sorry, go ahead.
What happens is now kids don't ask me the question, but didn't Vader do, Order 66? Wasn't there something with kids that wasn't right? I don't have to deal with that anymore because I'm the alternate history. I'm the alternate storyline where after he like I say, at the end of Rise of Skywalker, he's a morph of C-3PO. So from the neck down to the feet, you will see that that's all C-3PO. And it's only the head that it's Vader now.
Oh my goodness, that is absolutely amazing. When did you realize that this was going to be more than just a one-time thing, or just, was it after that first one you got the bug and you decide? Because with a lot of people, they'll have several characters that you do, but you've decided to stick to this one character. Was there something that really made you decide that's the direction you want to go?
Well, it was simply the charities. Because once Dude Vader became identified as a charity cosplayer, I realized that I didn't need to then think, okay, cannoli, how about Obi-Wan Kenobi? That's what I
Right.
was called on the set of Superman when I was working on that. I realized, the thing is that I changed the costume, by the way, for every single event. And so
Wow.
that's why the 3D helmet printed. And that gives kids that have seen me before the opportunity to say, okay, I see what's going on that's different this time. And that opens up their imagination. And so oddly enough, I guess, Batman would never want to be Superman.
Right.
He's known as Batman.
Right.
So it's and the beauty of it, and I appreciate this for all the cosplayers that have appeared and volunteered with me, is the fact that they give me some space to be just Dude Vader. And I
Right.
don't have to make an excuse for it. And I'll tell you, after 10 years, you're not allowed to be anybody else. It's wonderful
That's what they
because
want to see.
and what I do is, like, when I see a person my age, I ask them the question, how do you stay young when you're 77? And I tap the helmet and I say, plastic surgery.
Are you 77, Chris?
Yes,
Oh
yes.
my God,
I
you
got
look
to,
fantastic, and you're still doing
oh, it's,
5K.
yeah, it's mostly the work on the 5Ks. And because next week will be my 18th for this year. I've got
Wow.
two next weekend, and the it keeps you in shape, not only physically but psychologically.
Right.
Because I'll tell you, just walking around before a 5K race. Encountering people, and it's not just the walking. Remember that if I go to an event and there's like 300 kids, I'm doing 300 squats to go down to their level for photos.
Right.
Yeah, I really love coaching cosplayers to realize that, okay, when you go there, it's no longer about you, it's
Right.
about them.
Right.
And so if you're going to an event with kids, get used to either kneeling down or sitting in a chair. And when
Right.
you're 77 and you're kneeling down, remember, after an hour, go ahead and accept help, somebody lifting you up.
Yeah, no, I love that. I was before I was selling lightsabers, I was a preschool teacher. So, that was something we advocate a lot, was to get down to the children's level, not speak down to them, but to get down to their level.
Right. And costuming, once it's down to their level, now they're seeing it the way they see it on screen. Because remember, when a
Right.
kid is in their living room and there is a stormtrooper, they can walk up to the screen and now they're the same size as a stormtrooper.
They're high
So
level, right?
we have to break that fourth wall when we're doing charity, to realize that we're a part of their fantasy at the moment. So, get into character and work a crowd. Don't just stand around posing and expect keep people coming to you. You go to them.
All right. Does Dude Vader have a specific personality? I'm thinking of, I don't know if you remember, back in the day there was that the puppet dog comic, the insult or Triumph the Insult Dog, where he has a
Yes.
very specific personality when he puts that puppet on. Is Dude Vader the same way? Does
Well,
Chris go away and a whole new entity appears?
there's no Chris Canoli. I want to let you know that right now. Chris Canoli does not exist. I'm just his stand-in for Dude Vader. One of the lovely things about that Chris Bartlett noted, he says, as you start walking as an older person, you know that your stride is very close to C-3PO's stride. And I was the coach of the UCSD fencing team,
Right.
so sometimes I'll pull out the sabers because they think that it's just this droid that, kind of waddles along. And I'll go
Right.
into a whole saber routine as a demonstration. My right hand has a lightsaber, my left hand has a katana, and doing
Wow.
routines with that. But I have learned long ago, I have never taken off my helmet at a public event in where people can see my face. So this is only the second type of interview like this that I've done, because it helps, charity people to get to know that there's actually a person inside that they can talk with. And but I prefer keeping the helmet on, and as soon as I put it on at the car, I either go into samurai mode or I go into C3PO mode. And every event, before the event starts, I call it NASCAR driver. I go and I get all the information of what they're doing, their fundraiser, what's their goal, how many people showed up, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Because, for instance, this year alone, tonight is my 333rd story this year.
Wow.
To give you an idea of how much, if you're getting into this because you'd like some media experience, I'll tell you, you give to charity, you give of yourself, and it comes back to you 10, 20, 30 fold. It's amazing, because there is a craving amongst the news services for positive stories.
Right.
So get yourself out there. In San Diego, we have a place called Liberty Station. Every weekend, there's at least 2 charity 5Ks down there. Gear up, go down, cheer people on. You're going to be surprised at how quick people are going to get to know who you are. And if you stay in character and you really pay attention to what they need, you're going to become very popular.
That is amazing. I want to remind everybody in the audience, too, if you have any questions for Dude Vader, don't forget to type them in. He is here to answer any questions that you might have for those that are watching right now. Do you have any kind of vents? Or I know I've seen other people in Vader or Mando costumes that have like air vents in their helmet to keep the air circulating.
Well, that's why it's steampunk. There's holes all over this thing. There's portals, there's vents, the whole bit. Yeah, from day one, the eyes are completely vented. I can see out through the things. I have steampunk vents in the side, especially top of the head, because all the heat goes straight up out the top of your head.
Right.
And the neck to ankle suit is a wicking suit that this Chinese company made for me. So I'm about 15 degrees below ambient temperature. So a lot of the reason why I do the 5Ks is to keep warm. And it's just very, very comfortable. But the helmet back there, that thing was so heavy, I made it to rest on my shoulders because my neck couldn't handle the weight.
Right. How long did you do the old one before you said, I got to figure out a better way to do this?
It was about 3 years. Mm-hmm. And then 3D printing came along. And there is a Japanese company that does the Star Wars Samurai version. And so a friend says, they said that they were big fans of Dude Vader, so they sent us the program and paid for a 3D printer. And so it all got printed out, and then I started working down the costume, and that helps out a lot. A 3D print it's very zen. You can sit there and get mesmerized by watching this thing create something out of basically a piece of string, like old silk, and just hours and hours and hours. And as I say, the beauty of it is the fact that, I can do a Make-A-Wish helmet crest.
Right.
And within about 10 hours, and I'll wear that at the event. So that 3D is special.
So I want to ask one more question in this line, and then we have a question from the audience here.
Okay.
My last question about that is, are you printing them yourself, or is somebody else doing it? So
no,
you
I
had to learn
printing.
the whole art of 3D printing.
Yes. And, the thing is, though, the first year, which was 7 years ago, it was rough, but after that, the printers just got cheaper and a lot easier for first timers. And so, I have an Ender sitting right next to me, and it's a lot of fun. So I often, if somebody, breaks a finger or something on their costume, I just say, send me the STL file and I'll print it out for you.
Wow, that's excellent. All right, so we have actually a really good question here from Kevin. Kevin is a local cosplayer here in Northern California. He's a highly known cosplayer at a ton of events. His question is, they think that TikTok may be banned starting in January. Do you anticipate this will impact charities and other cosplay events?
I think it'll impact cosplayers exposed to the public. I know cosplayers that do a lot of TikTok, but the charities tend to register with Instagram. It's a better handle for Instagram,
Okay.
and so if you want to expose, who you are and what you do, and do videos and that, yes, TikTok is absolutely vital. The Cappuccinos are some friends that do a lot of TikTok, so I think it will have an impact on cosplayers promoting themselves. But if you really want to tap into the whole charity community, find out what their Instagram is and message them, and you will be surprised at how quickly they'll get back to you and say, yeah, we need a stormtrooper to go do a ward visit with kids.
Right. Yeah, there are no limit to the amount of charities that are out there that people can help. That's a wonderful thing. I think it's amazing when people put on the costumes, especially when you take so much time and effort to make your costumes to go out and try to help other people.
And it's especially true in the holiday season. What I really love is, obviously, I love mashup more than anything for costumes. And so during the holiday season, check out the local Christmas parade and see what the Star Wars cosplayers, how they will change up their costumes. Instead of being absolute perfect cinema 501st, there'll just be some whimsy in what's going on with their costumes. And especially mashups that are like Mandalorian Spider-Man type mashups.
Right.
Because that brings out a lot of creativity on how do I make it understandable to both groups.
Right.
And we're seeing a lot more of that at Comic-Cons.
I was working on I stopped. I need to get back into it. Life is it's God, but I need to get. I was working on a Marvin the Martian Mandalorian crossover. It's gonna be Marvin the Mando.
Yes, I will destroy your planet.
Yes.
I got to visit JPL and actually operate the Mars rover live. And the funny thing is in the lab, there's this statue on the desk. It's Marvin the Martian that's on the desk. But
yes.
it was such a such a thrill, and I was doing it. When they're controlling the rover on Mars, you're actually out in a yard in the back lot of JPL, and it was raining that day, and so they had to ground me, plug me into the rover.
Wow.
And so I thought, boy, wouldn't this be the great news story that, Dude Vader meets his end by getting electrocuted with the Mars rover.
Wow. I bet that's something you never knew would be on your card when you started putting this costume on.
Well, I do drawings for the Smithsonian, and I had done this one of Neil Armstrong for the display.
Wow.
And I was giving a copy to JPL. But I'll tell you, if you ever get a chance, go out and do the tour of JPL. It's an extraordinary location, and it's better than all the movies that you've ever seen. I got to see part of it while doing Apollo 13, but not the complete walk around on the grounds.
Amazing, amazing. We have a
Oh, he's
question here.
asking. Yeah, the
From
next. Well, to give you just to give you an idea of events coming up. So I've got a Santa run at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. Peace in the Park at 10 o'clock. The San Diego Police Department Winter Festival at 4 o'clock. Then Sunday the Jingle Bell Ball. Then Sunday evening the Thrive Christmas Party. Then Tuesday the High Tech High. Wednesday is the Navy movie night, and then Dr. Wu, who I do a lot of events with, it's his Hope event. And so, yeah, I stay busy.
Chris, can I ask you where sometimes on this show, I like to ask questions that are a little bit off the radar and may not be your typical interview questions, but
I hope.
Are you married? Do you have a lot of family in your immediate area?
No, no, I'm divorced. We were best friends back in the early '80s, but we had careers that just went in opposite directions, and so she's still one of my best friends in life, and so I think that part of the reason why I'm so entrenched in charities is because. My parents died when I was 12 years old. So this is my real childhood that I'm living right now. And so that's, like I say, when I'm wearing the helmet, I get to make goofy faces inside the helmet. I get to have any emotional response that I want. And I love miming. If kids, maybe about 1/5 of the kids think that I'm actually a robot. And so, I wear this the bib up around, completely around my neck, so you can't see inside. And now my microphone is stuck inside the bib. So what happens is that when I see that they think I'm a robot, then I just stay in total robot mode, mimicking what they do, or acting a little confused as to, will you help me? I'm lost. It's really kind of fun stuff, it brings me back into their world. And I teach science with kids. My favorite first question to every kid: how fast are you moving right now?
Wow. We're considering the speed of the planet.
At the speed, just the turning of the planet is 1,000 miles an hour. You're moving twice as fast as the fastest airline. Then I said, now, when you're going around the sun, you're moving at 36,000 miles an hour. And our solar system is moving through the universe at 250,000 miles an hour. So when you think about it, if the moon stopped right now, it would only take 15 minutes to get there.
Wow.
And and the thing is so when I see a kid light up, I said, so what's the first thing you're going to do? And they said, I don't know. And I said, you better put on your seatbelt if you're going to drive that fast.
This is why I can never be expected to walk a straight line if I ever get pulled over. How can I walk a straight line when we're moving this fast?
Yes. It's a great excuse. It won't hold up in a court of law, but it's a great excuse.
You got to try something. So I wanted to ask you, there was actually more to why I was asking you about your family and things. And this is where I want to go with it. If you watch YouTube a lot and you watch a lot, I watch nothing but YouTube, but there's so many documentaries about how in 2024, ever since the P word happened, where I guess you can't say it on YouTube, ever since 2020, a lot of times people feel disjointed from each other. They feel like the world has kind of changed. There's a loss of a sense of community. But I don't feel that with you. And then also a lot of people are saying, they feel lonely or they don't feel connected to their fellow human being. And they're just having trouble feeling lost in the world. But with you, I feel like you have this connection to your fellow human being. And every day you've got somewhere else that you're going and you're constantly in service of other people. And it seems to have kept you young.
Well, and the beauty of it is, I see every single person that I meet as like a wonderful novel that I'm going to have an opportunity to read. Whenever I really encounter somebody that I engage with, I say, recommend a book for me to read. And so the next time I see you, we'll talk about that book.
Wow.
And when you're in the community, one of the beautiful things about cosplay is if you don't feel comfortable approaching strangers to start up a conversation, find out what they're all about. You may not be, but Spider-Man, it's really easy.
Right.
Or
right.
Princess Leia, it's really, it's so much easier to encounter other people. And especially if you practice by going to a con first, to see how it feels. You're going to be, I always love a person's first photo. They step through the door and thinking, geez, is my costume perfect? Did I, are my eyes right? Or how's my hair? Or all this kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden, a photographer runs up and says, can I get a photo of you? Immediately, the barrier of not being able to communicate disappears.
Right.
And that's the photographer at a con. Now, you really want to amplify that, go to a charity event to where you've got like a couple of hundred kids.
Right.
They just remember that they are seeing you through their imagination, not necessarily for the person that you're not secure being.
Right.
And once they come up to you and start talking with you, and you realize, okay, I'm there for that person. So listen, ask them the next question, find out what's going on with them, encourage them to tell a story. Tell me, oh, you like the gold helmet. Have you ever seen a gold helmet before? Tell me a story about that.
Right.
Often I get, well, wasn't there one in Indiana Jones? And it gets the person to want to engage with you.
Right.
Because the thing is, and one of the beauties of being a single character for a long term, all of a sudden you've got a fan base you never know existed. USA Today 2 years ago, there was a photo of me that was labeled the photo of the year. Where I'm sitting in an audience, my hands are spread wide, and USA Today puts that out. All of a sudden, I get like 25,000 new fans from India because I look like a Hindu god. And so that kind of stuff, you never know. One of the things that Nathan had taught me, if you're not sure whether you're going to go to an event or not, do I feel right? Maybe I want to sit and watch football or something else. Just go. Just go. You're going to be overwhelmed. I had no clue that I was going to meet Bryce Howard at the movie premiere. So I walked up to her and I said, do you mind if I have a photo with you? And she says, sure. And I said, just to let you know, I worked with your dad on Apollo 13. And she said, really? And I said, yeah. And there was this redheaded little girl that ran around the set bothering everybody all the time. And she says, you did work on the set. And so it was such a wonderful encounter with her. And Chris was
Wow.
right next to me. Now, Bryce has directed Chris. And so
Yeah.
Bryce turns to Chris and starts chatting him up. And I said, okay, you two, time to do a video. So I pulled out my camera and we did a video of them encountering each other. So you got to be able to, once you facilitate something that's going to change in a person's life, then step back and let it happen. Don't
Wow.
feel like you have to control it.
Hey Chris,
Did
I'm
he
gonna put this out to you right now because
Sure.
I know you do a lot of charity events, but especially if you're doing things with like children in need or children's hospitals and things like that, I would like to offer to you. I would like to give you free lightsabers to give to children in need.
That would
So
be
if you have events throughout the year, now keep in mind I'm not a millionaire. I'm not one
I
of
know
these
you're not.
big companies. But if you have events throughout the year that you think might cheer up some kids that could use some cheering up, I would love to donate lightsabers to your causes.
That would be that would be incredible because the third when you ask me what mode I'm in, when I'm in C3PO mode, I tend to not carry a lightsaber.
Mhm.
But when I am in the samurai version of Dude Vader, the first thing most kids ask me, can I have your lightsaber? There's this unabashed, why not ask attitude. And it
Right.
would be so wonderful to say, can you wait here just a second and go out to the car and grab a lightsaber? Because, I think the most universal prop in all of Star Wars that anybody can be excited by having is a lightsaber. People have
I want to
always
tell you, before I did this, I think I told you I was a preschool teacher. And one of the things that I had noticed, it was very interesting, long before I had an obsession with lightsabers. If you give a child who is just learning how to walk, if you give them a stick and put a stick in their hand, they will automatically treat it like a sword. I don't
Yep.
know what it is about human beings that we intrinsically know to pick up this stick and start beating things up with it.
Well, like I say, I was a fencing coach, and during that time period, under those white outfits for fencing, everybody wears a T-shirt of
Mhm.
some kind of, whether it's Thor or Wonder Woman. Well, not Wonder Woman, but the various people that wielded sword. Red Sonja, and the thing is there's something about the extension of your body. That is why swordsmanship, I think, is sort of a natural part. It's got to be one of the first tools that primitive man had used to
Right.
extend the reach. And the beauty of a lightsaber is not just a physical extension; it's an imaginary extension of your reach.
Right. Wonderful, wonderful. I wanted to go back to something you were talking about earlier. I had a store. I used to have a store in downtown, and we used to have a lot of people that would come into cosplay into the store. They would just come hang out and cosplay. And we had this one kid that used to come in. He was 16 years old, and he used to come in every Saturday dressed as Spider-Man. We were a lightsaber store, but he came dressed as Spider-Man. And I remember having a conversation with him one time, and he was telling me he didn't get along very well with his parents, and he wasn't the popular kid at school. But he said when he puts on the Spider-Man outfit, that's the first time he can feel comfortable just being who he is. People don't judge him for, extraneous things or whatever. He can just have fun and communicate, and he's not worried about how he looks or how he's going to be perceived in that moment. He's just Spider-Man.
Right, and the thing is one of my dear friends, and I'm looking at my drawing of him, Cliff Robertson, lived in La Jolla, and he was Uncle Ben, and so the thing is Spider-Man is one of those characters that the beauty is. Remember, Spider-Man was that goofy kid that didn't have friends before he got bit.
Right.
And so I think that the character, it's deeply entrenched in the lore of Spider-Man, that if you're an everyday person that just doesn't feel comfortable in your own skin, will put on this red outfit, and it makes a difference. When I was growing up as a kid in the 50s, you know what the number one item that you put on? A cape. You take a bath towel and, bath towel, sling it around your neck, put some kind of string knot on it, and suddenly you were Superman. And I told that when I was doing set designs for Superman, I told that to Christopher Reeves, and he says, I did the same thing. Superman did the same thing when he was a kid, long before he became the character that became Superman. He was cosplaying, because cosplaying is actually, I think, it's the fountain of youth. It takes you back to that childhood imagination.
Wow.
And that can really, that opens up your heart.
Right.
So when you're there, because when you say you give lightsabers, I go to events a lot of times, we have like 50 capes, red capes. That's all we give to the kids. And they get it immediately. And there's so many caped characters. That's the beauty of capes. You can be anybody, just depending upon the color that you're wearing. And so that the simplest prop is often the easiest one for the kid to just open up. And boy, when they're in the hospital and they've just gone through chemo treatment, imagine if I'm in a hospital and a kid's going through this and he looks at my lightsaber. Imagine after what you've just offered, I go to the car and I come back with the lightsaber, and I said, why don't you use this every time after chemo to just, open up your imagination, go into the world of the lightsaber.
Right. That's amazing. Well, we have gold ones too, so we can get ones that match your whole theme.
I might hang on to that one.
Well, we'll definitely get a special one for you.
Isn't that wonderful that Ray's lightsaber is yellow? I love it.
Oh, yes. All right, so we're getting near the end, man. I've had just an absolute amazing time with you. It's amazing how quickly time flies. Do you have anything you want to leave people with, or any encouraging words, or anything, if you want to tell people that where you're going to be, or anything you want to push at the last second here?
Well, the Instagram is Dude Vader Hero. I'm real modest in Instagram line. And the thing is that don't hesitate to message me and say, okay, where can I go? Next year, I'm going to try to do a national tour as Dude Vader and just set up charities all across the country and get in the Jaguar and just drive and see what's out there. But the main thing to keep in mind is there are so many people that need to meet you. And you in costume, and if you like a variety of characters, that's even more playful for yourself. But there's a whole world out there. You don't have to be a politician or an actor or somebody like that to make yourself available to the world. Just put on a costume, put on a little makeup. Remember, for years it was clowns at circus that they were so incredibly popular, except for the people that freak out by clowns. But it's I always am taken back by somebody totally unexpected that walks up to me sometime in an event. And they said, when they ask, okay, what are you, I don't understand Dude Vader. And what I tend to do is, if there's a kid nearby, I said, why don't you ask them what I'm about?
Right.
And it's extraordinary. The kids get, I always say anybody under 12 immediately gets what it's all about,
Right.
because
Right. Right.
they are still giving and sharing. They're not sort of grabbing and possessing. They're giving
Right.
out. And giving is probably the easiest thing that you can ever do in life, because somebody needs you.
Right. That's amazing. That is amazing. You are definitely a fantastic inspiration. Somebody I know in the comments said that he said your energy is inspiring. I love the work that you're doing, and like I had told Matt, I was really excited to have you on here during kind of the Christmas time, because I feel like you embody what the season should be about. So I'm just thrilled to have had a chance to meet you.
It's my pleasure. And as I say, anybody out there that's watching this video, if I'm not, I'm basically San Diego, Los Angeles for most of my events. But if you're in like one of our wonderful cosplayers moved to the Carolinas, and she took everything she learned from here and went there, and boy, just lighting up the world back there. So
Fantastic.
you've noticed, I think, that there's now Comic Cons everywhere, all over the
Right.
country. San Diego's not the only one. Well, in every single town that's got a Comic Con, they've probably got dozens of charities that want you.
Excellent, excellent. So if you are out in the audience, there are so many ways that you can give back. I know, especially during this time and season, people may say, "Well, oh, I don't have a lot of money to donate to my favorite cause or charity, or I don't have a lot of skills or resources." Putting on a costume, it's as easy as putting on a costume, and you can go make somebody's day. Contact your local charity and say, how can I participate in making somebody smile today? That's fantastic. I think that's great advice. Thank you so much, Chris.
You're
Hey, Chris,
welcome.
let's stay in touch. I want to figure out how we can facilitate getting some sabers to you, and getting that all figured out.
That'll be perfect. And I'll make sure that I take photos of every kid that receives one, so that you can have those to promote the giving forward with other groups.
Well, I appreciate that. Uh, how do I say this without sounding like a jerk? I am coming from a teaching background. I don't like to have photos of children on the internet, just because there's a
Oh,
lot of
no,
weird
these are
people out there.
photos. But these are photos just sent to you, so that
Okay.
that you will see the lit up face.
Oh
When
yeah. Oh, that's the best
you know
part.
what lights up a face more than lighting in a studio? A lightsaber right there, right alongside of your face. There's
Oh,
no light that's better than that.
believe me, I know. I always tell people I have the best job in the world. I don't care if you're 37, or 77. Everybody turns into a 7-year-old when they hear that iconic buzz.
And you know that the iconic buzz, you know what it also creates?
What's that?
Instant smiles.
Yes.
They hear that, there's a subconscious. You're near somebody, you turn on your lightsaber, zzz, you will see smiles just blossom all around you.
Instantaneously. Well, I'm excited, and we'll get that facilitated so you can get more of those smiles around you. Chris, thank you, Chris, aka Dude Vader. I cannot thank you enough for spending time with us tonight. Again, I hope to work together with you in the future and be a part of this bigger mission that you're working on.
And I want to give out a particular thanks and shout out to all the cosplayers that I've met and appeared with as a volunteer over the years. Thank you for all the work that you've been doing.
Thank you. Thank you. Everybody, make sure to check out Dude Vader Heroes Instagram. We've got all of our information, or his information, in the description box down below. So if you have any questions, go check that out. Thank you so much, Chris, and we will see you in more photos at conventions.
Yes. Remember, this is the way.
This is the way. Take it easy, my friend.
Thank
All
you.
right, Mets, roll the. Oh, wait. Is it Mets? Is it me? I think it's me. I forgot. I was doing double duty tonight. Yeah. I'm so used to her doing. Okay. Here we go. All right. Take it easy. Well, oh shoot! I'm sorry. I forgot. I got so in there. I forgot to take you off. Sorry about that. All right. Wow. I was so into that video, and he was not kidding. He actually gets out of the car wearing that costume. I thought he was just being, metaphorical or something, but no, he actually gets out of the car like that. All right. Oops! I just hit something on my computer. How do I go back? Exit full screen. Let's try that. All right, I'm gonna make myself smaller because this is maybe I'm just started like that. All righty. So we have just one more thing tonight. Usually we do the flow of the show at the beginning of the beginning of the show, but because of Metz's not feeling well tonight, we are going to have that now. So my goodness, I'm doing a terrible job holding this camera. I promise in the new year, once I get some personal funds going, I'm going to get this camera and computer situation figured out. But for now, we are going to go into our flow of the show. I personally do not know. I cannot remember the name of the artist offhand, so we are going to watch this together. As always, this is brought to you by the incredible producer James Kaiser. He is an incredible flow artist himself, and he is the producer of this segment. So, with no further ado, here is your flow of the show. Wow, that was amazing. That was like if Michelle C. Smith and Donatello had a kid together. All right. Thank you for watching that segment. You can check out her information in the box as well. That was absolutely, yeah, you're right. That was sick. Please check out, if you are looking for a Christmas gift still, make sure to check out kybercave.com. That is what helps support this channel. As well as I want to thank our newest Patreon subscriber, Night Vision. Night Vision, you're going to be getting a whole bunch of like Kyber Cave merch, including we're going to be asking you what color chopsticks you want. Yes, you get lightsaber chopsticks. You get a hoodie. You are also entered into the contest to get a one-of-a-kind saber. We do a drawing every May. Our Patreon gives out gifts. You get stickers. Our Patreon gives out gifts depending on what level you're at. And if you stay with us until around May, we give out free sabers every year. We give out 5 free sabers. We give out 1 that's exclusive that nobody else has on the planet, and 4 other really nice sabers. So I want to thank Night Vision. I want to thank Philippe, Matt as well, and the other people that are on our Patreon, Graveyard. So many people. I want to thank you so much for all you have done to help us out. That goes a long way towards helping keeping this show going. So does checking out kcpmerch.com. That's specifically for Kyber Cave production merch. No, I don't think this hat's on there, but we got like water bottles and blankets and all kinds of stuff. And don't forget, Kyber Cave, this storefront, we're going to be shutting down our doors, unfortunately, come January 1st. The way to get a hold of us will be at conventions. We'll still be doing the convention route, and we will be online. So make sure to pick up your sabers online. And I guarantee you, please compare our prices to other saber companies. If you are looking for a NeoPixel saber, I guarantee we have some of the best rates on the internet. We have NeoPixel sabers for as low under $300, some for as just over $200. It is absolutely amazing. We have the best, especially on Profi sabers. We have some of the best prices. Thank you guys all. Oh, and one last thing before I let you go. I want to remind you, we have one show left for this season. We have one more show, and then we're taking 2 weeks off for the holidays. We will be back January 5th, and we have an action-packed, star-studded January for you. I have 2 confirmations right now. One is we have Odessa, aka Dolores from the movie Encanto. And as you know, you can type in and leave your questions for her. So if you want to talk about Bruno, this is the place to do it. She will be here January 19th. And the weekend, or the week before or after, we have Nick Palma will be on the show, and he is the stunt double for Michelangelo in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 movie way back in the 90s. You guys remember that one? Fantastic flick. So if you want to talk to Michelangelo will be here in January, and so will Dolores, and she will listen to anything you have to say. I'm also working on a couple other big name bookings right now. I don't want to tell you about because they have not confirmed, but make sure, don't forget, just because we're gone for 2 weeks in December, make sure to come right back in January because we're back doing it again. And don't forget, we give away a saber every 100 subscribers. That means that currently we're giving away about 10 to 12 sabers a year. It takes about a month to a month and a half, it seems, to pick up that 100 subscribers. So please share, like, leave a comment. The more this gets out in the algorithm, the more sabers we give away. And don't forget, just because you don't get it one time, just tune in the next competition and try to win it that time. We have many people that have been with us for a year or more and finally have won a saber. And then I've had people that I have literally met just that day at a convention tune in and win a saber. So you never know. But what I do know is that right now it is time for our talk of the town, and we will see you next week with another fabulous cosplayer. Her name is Randy Purdy, and she is a local, and we will check her out next week. But until then, enjoy your talks of the town. Love you guys. Peace.